to show you how to create a watercolor stitched card. I started out by taping down some watercolor paper with some masking tape to a piece of scrap cardboard. This helps the paper from warping after it's been saturated with water. Then I lay down a wash of water so the colors can bleed freely. At first I used my aqua brush to pick up some dark gray color from the palette, but then switched to a normal brush for more control. After I had a good layer of varying black and gray colors for the background, I used some blue, yellow, and purple to fill in some of the lighter parts. Set the piece aside to dry for at least a couple hours. I didn't film it, but I took some Studio Calico opaque white spray ink and created a splatter look to imitate the look of stars. As you can see, the outer space background is taking shape. I trimmed off the white areas of the piece and then eventually cut it down to 4 inches by 5 1/4. Then I took a scrap piece of paper that is the same size as the background and sketched some rough star shapes, leaving a space in the middle. I used my all-in-paper piercing cushion to poke holes wherever the star lines intersected, and then added some temporary adhesive to the star template, and then stuck it on top of the background piece to poke holes into it. Remove the template and then use the awl to widen the holes a bit. I threaded a needle with some white embroidery thread and started stitching the stars. I recommend stitching all the stars and then taping it off at the end. This will save you some time rather than doing the stars one at a time. This is what it looks like after I was done stitching. Here I used Kelly Purkey's Make-A-Wish stamp set and chose the Make-A-Wish sentiment. I like the sentiment because you can either stack it like I'll be doing or leave it vertical. I lined with the words on top of each other and then used my acrylic block to pick them up. Using a ruler, I measured the sentiment to figure out what size cardstock I would need to stamp on. I settled on 1.5 inches by 2.5. I used my anti-static powder bag to make sure no stray embossing powder stuck to the cardstock where I didn't want it, and then inked the sentiment up with some Versamark ink and stamped it onto this white cardstock piece. After that, I sprinkled some silver embossing powder on the cardstock. And then melted it with my heat gun. Once the embossing powder was set, I took the piece and spattered some Studio Calico black spray onto it. I added some foam adhesive to the white piece and then stuck it down to the background. Then I took my card base and scored it at 5.5 and stuck the finished piece on top of that using some Tombow Mono Permanent adhesive. Then I folded the card over and burnished it with a bone folder, and now it's done. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time. Bye!